think about something like Disney World, right? You're somebody that wants to go to Disney. They run an advertisement. They're trying to catch your attention. Are they going to say we had 1 million visitors an hour? No, nobody cares about that. That's not going to, that's a cool fact, but it's not going to
Yeah.
get you in the door.
Hey guys,
They're going
parked
to
is
say,
full
hey, we
today.
just got
Like,
yeah, they're going to say, we just got a new ride. We're going to have this celebration. They're going to give you a reason to come to Disney World. They're not going to say, again, like, oh my God, we have so many people coming here. Yay. Like that's
yeah.
what a just sold is. It's a pat on your back because you did your job.
Back at it again with another episode for you guys. My name is Ryan and this is Adam here. And we are talking about how to skyrocket your Instagram, not just for influential status, but to also generate leads, because everything that we teach here is for the purpose of generating more leads for your real estate business. As a real estate agent, that is just the lifeblood, right? You have to have leads coming in. Just depends on the method and the source, right? So Adam here, we're going to talk about his journey through Instagram, but we're not just going to talk about the journey. We always like to deliver the value and make sure you guys get a little nugget out of here, some method. We're going to give you some of the methods that he's using to continue to grow Instagram. He's had interviews with mayors and getting things from hotels. The doors that this is open has just been insane. But before we get into all the doors, or at least start walking through those, talk about, like, you didn't even have Instagram. Or you had it, but you were just kind of like, you'd browse around a bit and be off of it. There was no intention there. So talk a little bit about, where you started with YouTube and what made you want to even test the waters with Instagram.
Yeah. Obviously I have a successful YouTube channel in Tampa, probably one of the top YouTube channels as far as real estate channels in Tampa. And, that's really done wonders for my business. And over time, I was like, man, I feel like, there's other people on Instagram and they claim that they're doing really well and they're lead generating from that. But, when I started looking at their channels, I'm like, well, how much has it lead gen, for you? How much did it produce for you? And they were like, I got 10 deals. I got this, I got that. Nobody really gave me the same feedback that they did with YouTube, but I was still interested. And I was like, well, how can I craft this? And I started diving down and looking at everybody else's Instagram and just, ended up wanting to take a different approach. But here's the funny thing is, like you were saying, I never had an Instagram. I didn't love social media outside of for business. So, it was kind of like, where do I start? And I kept asking everybody, like, where do I start? And they said, well, just start posting a bunch of stuff, and consistency is the key. And they weren't wrong with consistency, but I always feel like there is a strategy. An algorithm wants you to work within its rules, and they want certain things. And so I really studied it for a while before making that leap,
Yeah, I
But
mean, that's funny that you said, yeah, just post a bunch of stuff and be consistent. And I was even against it. I'm like, dude, it's like a slot machine, man. And I like playing my slot machines, but that's essentially like,
yeah,
you're just hoping for one to bust, to hopefully get that bonus round, right? And then see where it goes from there. So I know we're some Wheel of Fortune guys over here, but other than that
yeah.
though, so you got told start posting. Consistency is the key. Browsing around Instagram, because that's what we do. You and I were like, okay, well, let me actually go look. All right, who's successful? Why are they?
Yep.
What are these? Or
Let's do
seem
some
successful?
market research, right?
Yeah, simple as that, right? Some market research. And what did you start noticing, or what was the consistent theme around other agent pages, I guess, that seemed successful?
Yeah, so kind of the two things I was looking for when I started that research was I wanted to see what agents' follower count was. And then I also wanted to say, well, let me find the best ones, right? And then I want to see what they're doing. And I noticed that, like, in Tampa, I wanted to say like maybe 5,000. If you broke through 5,000, you were a solid agent on Instagram as far as followers. And I know there's a ton of different variables going into, did they pay for it? Did they not? Like, what does that really look like? But I wanted to find the best ones just off of follower count. And so like 5,000, 7,000, man, if you found somebody with 15,000, they're booming, right? They're really ahead of the crowd.
Yep.
And so what I did find though was that they had a lot of just solds. They had a lot of market updates. They had, the best ones had home tours, which I think was brilliant. And that's a pretty common theme. But I was like, man, who were the ones following them? And I would notice that I would go down their followers and notice that it was a lot of other realtors. And it's almost like they were, when you put a just sold, it's kind of like pat on the back. I got a trophy. I sold a house. I think that's good. Nothing wrong with it. But are you really attracting people? Like if I were to put myself in that consumer or that viewer's seat and I'm watching this person's channel, I'm going to say, wow, he sells real estate. But there is no added value by posting a just sold other than a pat on the back. And that's what I started to realize is like, man, I'm not getting any value. And really, I started thinking about this because my YouTube channel was built around value. And that's why I feel like it was successful. I'm always showing communities and neighborhoods and what is the lifestyle like where I live. And those were the people that I was attracting, is people that are like, man, you come with a ton of value. I want to work with you. Not because I sold a certain amount of homes. I've never posted how many homes I've sold. I'm sorry. Homes I've sold on YouTube. Yeah, a little backwards there. Tongue twister. So the point was I just found it like, man, I think I want to start showcasing the lifestyle. So then I went on another mission, and it was like, let me find other agents around the country, because I couldn't find any locally, that were really highlighting, that lifestyle. And then I wanted to see, were they successful? And that's exactly what I found. I started seeing bigger channels. The downside to them, a little bit opposite, was they didn't sprinkle in real estate as much, or they didn't give a call to action. And I was like, man, there's like a really good formula here to like combine the two. Essentially what we're doing on YouTube, which was showcasing the lifestyle, then using a call to action. Hey guys, I am a realtor, by the way. I hope you love our lifestyle. If this is something that fits you and your family, give us a call, because we are licensed realtors, right? Putting it all together. So,
Yep.
That was kind of my step one. That was my strategy there. Yeah.
It's funny that, like you said, that with these agents, and I see it, these agents, the entire Instagram page is just sold, new listing, just sold. I'm like, what is this? What does this do? I don't understand what this does or where the value is in that. Like you said, other than pat on the back. Okay, you seem successful. Cool. Maybe referrals, I guess. But as far as like when we were even discussing it initially, what I noticed is a lot of the news style pages. So for Hawaii, there's a page called Hawaii News Report. Hawaii News Report, tons and tons of followers, and they just post local content. Here's what's happening in Hawaii. Like here's what's going on. Yeah. Almost like a media outlet, right? Or a mainstream media outlet in a way, but they're local. Vegas, same thing. There's a bunch of them. Vegas Locals, Las Vegas Magazine, Vegas Issues is the big one out here. Vegas Issues. It's like satire comedy, but local stuff happening. And they get a ton of that local base. Some of the people, from elsewhere, but a lot of local base. So that's what I initially noticed as far as pages that are strictly about what that local community is doing, what's happening in that local community, seem to generate a lot of attention.
Think about it like this. Think about something like Disney World, right? You're somebody that wants to go to Disney. They run an advertisement. They're trying to catch your attention. Are they going to say we had 1 million visitors an hour? No, nobody cares about that. That's a cool fact, but it's not going to get you in the door.
Hey guys,
they're going to say, hey,
today.
They're going to say, we just got a new ride. We're going to have this celebration. They're going to give you a reason to come to Disney World. They're not going to say, again, like, oh my God, we have so many people coming here. Yay. Like that's what a just sold is. It's a pat on your back because you did your job. Yeah. No, you want to put out content that's valuable to attract that person to come back and visit, to Disney World, or in this scenario, your city. And then ultimately they want to move there. So then you sell them real estate. You got to build that funnel for them.
Yep. So on that note, we've talked about what we saw wasn't working, or what you saw wasn't working, what we've seen kind of generate a lot of audience. Now about a little bit like strategy and mindset, and with the content that you're posting. Obviously, now that we're talking about everything local, which is restaurants, things to do, mini golf, anything like that. What would you say as far as your ratio or amount of, what's your percentages as far as I'm going to keep it broad or I'm going to keep it very niched in? How do you go about that?
Yeah, that's a good thing. So a good point. And there's a lot of different ways to answer that. But number one is you have to understand Instagram has a lot of tools on it. It's a even though it's a simple platform, there's a lot of different ways you can spin your content. And the number one thing I needed to understand is if I'm starting from zero, which I did, I started literally, beginning of the year, zero.
Yep.
And I just knew that my competition was 5 to 7, 5 to 10,000 followers. That's who I wanted to beat to be the best in my city. And so I said, well, how am I going to get there? Well, I need to get reach. I need to reach and I need to get exposure to other people, and as fast as I could. So I kind of did all the research and I found that Reels will give you the biggest reach when it comes to Instagram, right? Posts are good. Stories are kind of the behind the scene days to day, but no question that Reels will give you the most reach. So my focus was 100% on Reels, right? Have I posted before? Yes. Have I added stories? Yes. But my focus was posting one reel a day because consistency, those folks that gave me the advice at the beginning were right. Consistency is key, and I wanted to plan out one reel a day, okay? Now that I knew that strategy, I needed to break it down a little bit simpler for myself because doing a post a day or a reel a day, that's a lot of content. So how do I do that? Well, I mean, I honestly would batch shoot and batch plan. So I usually plan for 2 weeks at a time. And then I just deliver and I write down the titles and then I shoot. But I kind of broke it down into like what I call templates or ideas, right? Like little bunches. Number one would be, I want to showcase the things to do in my city. So every Thursday, and I pick Thursday because it's leading into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, these are the things to do in the weekend. And those are probably the most consistent viewed reels that I put on my channel for everybody that's visiting Tampa or already live here. They tell me all the time, man, we love your things to do. And they share it and they save it. Those are two big metrics on Instagram. Are they saving it and are they sharing it to other people because it's being social? Okay. So that's number one. So right away, I'm down to, okay, I've got one reel every week. On Mondays, I randomly pick that one. I have no reason. I do a home tour. So that's going to be my real estate. So I do one home tour that I repurpose from my YouTube content. And that's something that people look forward to now. So now I've got 2 out of the 7. I like to do gimmicky reels, what I call gimmicky reels, and they're usually like 5 to 7 seconds, really short reels. And it might say something like, I did one the other day that said, POV, point of view. You move to, what is it? You're not sad. You just need to move to Tampa where we have endless sunsets and we can, take a boat home from dinner. It was something like that. And then I show a nice clip, like 2 or 3 clips of a boat, sunset in the background, headed home, like just something really simple, even if it's generic, but meaning you're not in it. You just had that B-roll in your library. Those do amazing. And man, those are the ones that really get the reach. The other one is, have you been here? And those are great to highlight local restaurants, local businesses, right? And so I like to go in there and say, have you been to this place? And then I'll do a narration video where I basically write out a script and then I get the B-roll of that entire place and just give them an update. Here's the beauty. You can now tag that place and invite them to collab with you. And if they accept that collab, now it opens up their audience to your audience. So ton of value on those. And there's nothing better than growing your local presence by already tapping into a local business who did the work for you because they've already grown their local presence and hopefully you're tapping into it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I just kept doing that until I had about 7 to 10 categories and then I would rotate those categories, but I would always sprinkle in real estate. So probably 3 or, maybe 3 times to 4 times a week, I'm talking somehow about real estate. The rest of it is, these are your top schools. These are your best sushi restaurants, best rooftop bars, things to do, those kind of things to fill in the gaps.
Being a true local resource for the city. That's right. Exactly. Talking about everything. We got local news. We got developments. Hey, they're building a new park or a new skate park or gym or Chick-fil-A, whatever that is, right? Over here doing this. Here's the top 5 steakhouses in downtown Tampa, right? Local resource stuff. Tying in, oh, hey, look, this new community over here has the Crystal Lagoon that I know you guys got, stuff like that, highlighting communities, keeping it, that real estate. So Um, you're about, is it like, I know you have your 80/20, right? So you're about 80% like local. Here's everything locally. 20%. By the way, I'm an agent, like kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm always sprinkling in. By the way, you're thinking of moving here? I'm an agent, and in every single reel, it's at the end. If you like what you see, or if you're thinking about moving here, DM us because we are licensed realtors. We'd love to help you find your next home. Um, I will say this, man, coming from a place of value, some of the ones that are huge right now is I found a link when I was looking for information on schools. I used to kind of use the old greaterschools.org or niche.com. But then I said, let me get a little bit better of a source. And the Department of Education, Florida Department of Education, actually ranks all of our schools here. I'm not saying that everywhere has that, but it was just a really good source. And if you're moving here, you have kids, a lot of families come to Tampa. Schools are important. So they broke down elementary, middle, and high school, and then they broke it down even by county. And so I've done this about 5 or 6 times now pretty consistently. And I'm like, top elementary schools in the Tampa Bay area. And then I just run a reel and it's a few seconds. It's just like a drone footage in the back. I run a reel and I'm like, check the caption for details. And I put the link to the Department of Education, but then I actually wrote in the description all of the A-rated schools of like elementary schools. And that thing got like 150, 200,000 views and comments galore. Like, that's not a good one. That is a good one. I went there. Like, now their school rivals arguing with each other. And these are alum. These are people that have their kids there. It's not all just like, I'm not attracting 16-year-olds. I'm
They're about
attracting
to have their
parents
20-year reunion.
yeah. And so, or really people that have their kids and they're like, hey, can you send me that link? And I'm like, hey, it's right there. I pinned it. But that's just elementary. And then it can go to like middle and then high school. And then you could switch areas or expand that. So again, just really good reels. And again, if it's a family or somebody looking to be there, it's like, hey, these are schools. And so now when you're looking for your schools, I can help you find a home in that area.
Yeah. So, we've given you guys a ton of strategy in mindset, really, as far as how you should be approaching your Instagram. So we've told you what not to do, and we've already given you the sauce as far as what you can do. And we do have a step-by-step course where Adam right here is teaching you everything that he is talking about step by step. And these styles of reels that he's talking about, we have it laid out in a template fashion to where you can literally watch him create it and go through with it and then create your own and start building and blowing up your Instagram. Because like I said, we do this with intention. We're not trying to necessarily be influencers for the city or famous in that way. Everything we do is with the intention of generating more leads for a real estate business, which leads me to primarily, YouTube was your baby, your thing that really blew up your business, from being a sphere of influence guy to taking on YouTube and having that top Tampa channel there forever and still do. That being a big business driver. Dive into Instagram. Now I want to talk about the doors that have opened from YouTube, and how different it is from Instagram and how people see you differently because of you just hit 40K followers on Instagram, how people may look at you or see you differently, the things you're getting invited to because of Instagram versus YouTube. So we'll open it up, I guess, initially with the things that have happened with some of the local businesses, because they see your exposure. So tell me about some of those doors that have opened with either the restaurants, the hotels, things like that.
Yeah. So number one, yes, you dropped the bomb because I'm sure people are like, well, did he really grow his channel or what did that look like? So to take it back half a step real quick, I started my channel at Christmas time, but for all intents and purposes, let's just say January 1st. Christmas was like, man, what am I posting? I'm posting about Christmas stuff. So I took all that off and basically January 1st was kind of like the beginning of it all of this year. And right now we're shooting this video and it's August. So in 8 months, I just hit 40,000 followers. No boosting, no ads, all organic. And to be fair, my goal was 5,000 for the first 90 days. And by the end of the year, 20,000. And I was basing that off of what I saw locally, right? I based it off of the other realtors in my area that were like 5,000, 10,000. They're really good. I just wanted to be number one within a year. The fact that I hit 40,000 in the first 8 months, and now it's just snowballing even bigger. I love seeing it, and it shows that the proof is in the pudding, like it works. But what has it done and how has it changed? Well, it's very different than YouTube. YouTube is long form content. I am in a way educating people, but I'm reaching more of a relocation platform where I have more time to showcase the areas, right? With a 15, 20, 30-minute video sometimes versus 30 seconds. I can do a lot more damage with a long form video. But what I have noticed is that Instagram, because I initially followed, instead of following people, I took the approach of following local businesses, coffee shops, or influential people, the mayor, in real estate. I figured, let me go, follow all the local builders, right? So let's fast forward to today. At first, were they calling me? No. You got to build up some kind of reach. On Instagram, it goes back to what I was telling you about the collab. Whenever you have followers, you have a little bit of clout. And they're like, man, I want to help you collab, right? So, and then you start to like have different levels of who wants to collab with you. Well, I mentioned the mayor. The mayor reached out to me and was like, hey, I love your content. And I was like, well, I love what you do for our city. Can you be on, one of my podcasts or one of my YouTubes, and as well as Instagram? And can we put something together? I want to talk about where the future of our city, the transportation, traffic woes, affordability, where are we headed with our new developments? And she was gracious to go on there. She gave me 45-minute interview that I use in a ton of different ways. You mentioned hotels. So then I had a hotel reach out to me and was like, it was a Hyatt that just did like a $30 million renovation on a historic building. And they invited me over to their grand opening, but they also have a top restaurant in Tampa inside. And they invited me for the entire weekend to have dinner, stay for the weekend, bar tab on them for me and my wife. And it was all for like a 30 to 45 second reel. But what door that opened? Because when I first had that reach out, I'm like, what am I going to do with a hotel? Like, how is that going to help me showcase the lifestyle here? And how's that really going to help me? Because I always look for the angle. I don't want to just take on somebody because it sounds like fun. I want to make sure that it's all going back to how will this help me sell real estate? So I told them, give me a few weeks. I need to think about this. And so what I noticed was they were downtown. Okay. And I started putting this puzzle together. They're right next to our Performing Arts Center, which our Performing Arts Center is like Broadway shows. It's called the Straz. They do like Kevin Hart comedy shows. Like, it's a big event center. And they had actually Kevin Hart in concert. So he was coming and he was a block away from that hotel, or like 2 blocks away. And I was like, well, if I don't want to walk, am I going to grab an Uber? Well, we have a new ride share that is these Teslas that are driverless Ubers, right? And it's called rideshare. And they only service the downtown area. And so I told her my idea, which was, hey, why don't I show my experience there? But as a local, I wanted to do a staycation in your hotel because I had tickets to Kevin Hart, which I didn't at the time. And I'm going to go ahead and use this rideshare to get around, right?
Yeah.
And so kind of long story short is, it was funny. The door that opened was, she's like, well, I'm actually on the board at the Straz Center, and I can hook you up with travel and tourism in Tampa, and we can collab all 3 of those different departments. So I did get tickets to the Straz show. She did give me the stay at the hotel, and I was able to collab with all 3. And I mean, the reach there was just crazy. But that's how my mind worked. It wasn't just, a hotel stay. Because I'll turn down 10 of them unless they can make sense for what we're doing.
Right. And so that's the thing too. You're not just every restaurant, coffee shop, whatever it is. You're not just like, yeah, sure, every time. How can it strategically be used for what I'm trying to do? I get that you want something because you see what, my Instagram is doing, but I also need something, and it's got to make sense for me. It's not always just a yes.
Yeah. So from that concept, what did I end up with? I ended up with collabing with the Performing Arts Center for our area, the Straz, the hotel, and the new rideshare platform, right? So that's 3 different, all in one reel that I got to collab with to have reach to their audience.
Yep.
But in that reel, what I was showing to my audience was, hey guys, you can stay in our downtown, which is totally revamped. Check out this hotel I got to stay in. I went and enjoyed our performing arts because we have arts and culture here in Tampa. And then while you're downtown, it is walkable. But if you don't want to walk, jump in this ride share. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
now it's showcasing our downtown and how fun Tampa can be.
Yep.
So yeah.
That's like, I like it. I like this, the thought process there a lot too. All right. One more thing, before
Yeah.
we give away the whole course on here, which, I probably will. These strategies. So a lot of people think, Instagram, they hear the post and ghost, right? I want to post and ghost. And that's it. And a lot of people will hire sort of a Instagram manager who literally does everything on their profile, except go in and be social. Like you said, it's social media, and a lot of people forget that. That's what it's there for, is to be social. So when obviously, I think you can see what I'm leading up to. With being social on social media, how is it? This strategy, Gary Vee called it his $1.80 method or whatever, which he would say basically go on there and like and comment on like 180 different posts, something along those lines. So you can correct me in the comments if you're listening or watching. And then so it was something like that. But to me, that just, for a lot of people, that sounds exhausting. Like, what? You want me to spend half my day trying to pretend to give a crap about this? So what was your sort of strategy, and what did you see happen from it as far as interacting and being social with other people?
Yeah, so I mean, you nailed it on the head. I mean, it's called social media for a reason. You have to interact with other people, right? The second part of that is, well, I always want to make it simple and easy for myself, right? There's a lot of posting going on. Whenever you're a content creator, you know what it is. It's not set it and forget it. It is work if you want to be good or you want to be great. How much effort you give back to it is what it's going to be. So, but I also want to simplify it. Just like when I created the templates and I said, okay, Monday's out, Tuesday's out, Thursdays are done. Now every week I just have to come up with 3 new ideas in a way.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with this. So what did I do? Well, number one thing I did, especially at the beginning, was every morning I would wake up. I like mornings because I feel like some of those channels post things around like 9 a.m., at least in my area. I would notice that a few of the ones that I followed. So first thing is I followed all those local businesses and influential people. And then whenever they posted, I would give something of value back in a form of a comment. And almost every day, it wouldn't necessarily be the same people, but it would say like, let's say that the mayor, did something and she was talking about, our newest development's coming. And I was like, oh, wow, I love to see new developments. This one in particular, because my family already loves the Riverwalk. Can't wait for the extension, right? Yep. Right there, it's almost always, because it was such a good comment, that somebody would like it, she would like it, and I'd see other people. And then all of a sudden, it's like, if you do that to about 5 different accounts, check back at the end of the day, and I almost promise you that you'll have 3 or 4 or 5 new followers, just because they're like, oh, let me check his account out, Yeah. Not only that, but your name. My name is Tampa, Florida Living. I branded it. So when somebody sees that, they're like, Tampa, Florida Living, that's not like Adam, it's a brand. So they see that and they see that comment of value. They're going to check, oh, what's this channel about?
Yep.
So that's number one. Number two is when you do post a reel, yeah, I mean, check in a couple times a day when you just get a chance. Everybody has that loose time in their day here and there. Check them out, answer some of the comments, and, hit that heart, like them all. Thank you for the comment, be interactive, be social. It's not post it and forget it. So those are some of the things that I guess I would say at the beginning that do give value, and you're giving back to other channels. It's not all about just you.
Yeah, because like guys like Joe Rogan, I mean, he's like, I post and ghost. I don't look at, because people are nasty on the internet. And then other people hear that, but as far as, okay, that's what he does. But what we're trying to do, or what we are doing, that doesn't apply to us. We want to interact. We want to engage. That engagement is good, and it tells the algorithm a lot of things when people are engaging with it, even if it is a nasty comment. People are engaging, and that's what it likes. The other thing too, yeah, I think you were talking about it briefly, was, even if you go into the comment section, you leave your valuable comment, and then you go and like other comments that you agree with, these people will see that you, as your page, like Tampa something, right? Tampa, Florida Living, liked their comment. Oh, who's Tampa, Florida Living? They liked what I had to say. And then they'll go check you out. And now you're tapping into that inner web of everything else, because now they liked it. And then they have friends and followers potentially who, okay,
Yep.
they interacted with you. So maybe your content gets thrown into theirs. And then their other friends and their other friends. And it's just like this web that just
Yep.
spreads out. So
And I'll tell you what, if you're trying to get eyes on you, especially if you're growing, there's nothing better. And that's one of the things that we do teach with agent marketers is, on your YouTube video, let's say you already have that, or let's say you have TikTok, or you have whatever that's already successful, mention it. Almost every other video now, I'm trying to get more eyes on Instagram, and now I can actually go back and forth with it. But it's like, guys, I am, if I'm on a YouTube video and I'm talking about, again, Tampa, it's like, I love it when people say there's nothing to do in Tampa. Every Thursday on my Instagram channel, and then I put my Instagram channel up, I post the weekly things to do. Literally, it's endless. And every week it catches me off guard at how much there is to do, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm like giving myself a little plug. And one of the beautiful things is that all of this social media, they starts to interact, and if it's all branded the same, it's really easy to get a following from another following, and next thing you know, it's a crazy spider web that's just growing together.
Yeah, you got consistency across the board with Tampa, Florida Living, the omnipresence, and then I know it's happening to be like, I found you on Instagram first, or I saw you
Yep.
on YouTube first and came over, and now you're getting a lot coming back and forth. But again, for the people who want that long form, informative content, and also get to know you more and your personality and things like that too, that's coming across more on YouTube than it is Instagram. So they're just working together now and just going through the roof. So there was a ton of strategy there. We've hit you guys with a lot here, and that's just been 30 minutes of just valuable nuggets in there. Like I said earlier, we do have a course that teaches you how to set up properly, like Adam talked about briefly with brand, the description, or at least your profile description, the gimmicky reels, all those templates. It's in the course right there at agentmarketers.com. The link will be down in the description. All right. Adam, you got anything else for him? I think you've delivered enough. Maybe.
No, yeah. I mean, honestly, there's a lot more, but that's why we do coaching. That's why we have our community. Come and just join our community. It's free, and you can see what other people are talking about. We're all strategizing and always evolving, because just like the algorithms and everything else, everything's changing constantly. So always good to pop in and get some new tips and tricks.
Absolutely. So there's tons of other videos on this channel, tutorial styles. If you want to hear more podcasts where we are delivering the value, those are going to start popping up for you right now.